Hello guys, yeah, welcome to today's section on um on beginner's guide to understanding piano theory very well. So what we are going to talk about today is skills. Okay, skills and modes. All right. Having learned intervals, the next thing that you need to proceed to is to learn your skills and your modes. All right, which is very essential for chords. All right, this is the foundation for building chords and how to use them. Okay, so um in our previous video we talked about intervals and explained the relationship between each of these intervals and why they are so. Okay, so talked about, I think, major intervals, minor intervals, and also perfect intervals. All right, so now we want to move on to understand skills. Okay, so to begin with skills, just know that skills are abstract collections of notes. Okay, so once we put some notes together, we form skills. All right, and there is what we call the master scale. Okay, so the master scale is basically what we also term as the chromatic scale. Okay, so chromatic scale is basically it consists of all the 12 keys, or it consists of all the notes in an octave. Okay, so if I pick the key of C to C, that means that we will be getting as our chromatic scale. Okay, so if I move from this here to its octave, whatever notes I play in between this is what we call the chromatic scale. You can do that for any key. You can start from A to A, from E flat to E flat. Okay, what matters is that all the notes played together is what we term as the chromatic scale. Okay, but then in our Western music, you realize that chromatic scale is not harmonically pleasing. Okay, because you can't form any chords out of the chromatic scale. It is large and it is simply impossible for you to create anything harmonically inclined out of this chromatic scale. Okay, so we usually break it down. Okay, we usually break it down and take some parts out of the chromatic scale to form a scale that would be harmonically pleasing, or to form a scale that would suit our ear. So out of the chromatic scale, we have other two types of scales. Okay, yes, basically there are three, but the others are not. The last one is not really used. So we have the pentatonic scale. Okay, and then we have the 7-note scale, that's the diatonic scale. And usually in jazz there is the 8-note scale, which are popularly called bebop scales, but then they are not usually used, all right, in our setting or in our kind of music that we play. Okay, so let's take the pentatonic scale and then talk about it. So the pentatonic scale, pentatonic means 5 per octave. Okay, so if we pick let's say the key of A, this is the key of A, so the pentatonic scale would be, alright, so this is the pentatonic scale for the key of A. Alright, so you realize that when you pick the octave A to A, we have only 5 notes within this octave that we play. That is why we call it 5 per octave. Okay, now the pentatonic scale has it has a scale formula. Okay, so basically a scale formula is like a formula. Okay, like a formula, or let's say a roadmap that you use to find any other scale. Okay, it could be a diatonic scale or a pentatonic scale. All right, so so that when you are in any particular key, whether C sharp, B flat, whatever key, you use a scale formula to find those notes, okay, relating to the scale. So when you take A, let's use A as our root note. Okay, so if A is our root note, the scale formula is giving us TS, TT, TST. Okay, the TS are together. All right, now you might want to ask what is T, what is S, and all that. Okay, in my previous video I spoke about whole tone and semitones. Okay, so a whole tone is moving 2 steps. Okay, so if I'm at C and I want to move a whole tone, there's a whole tone. All right, so if I move this whole tone, sorry, this is F. So if I'm at F and I want to move a whole tone, this is a whole tone. It takes me to G. Okay, and then a whole tone is also called a tone. Okay, yes, and then sorry, a whole step. Okay, yeah, and then a semitone. Okay, it's just 1 step. So if I'm at F and I want to move a semitone, it will just be this. It will just take me to F sharp. All right, so once it takes me to F sharp, that is a half step. Okay, so just bear in mind that a whole step is 2 steps, which is also called a tone, and a half step is simply moving 1 step, which is also called a semitone. All right, so back to our minor pentatonic. We said that it is 5 per octave. Okay, so we said the formula, the scale formula is TS. All right, so the TS sorry, the TS over here from A would be 3 steps. Okay, yes, so 1 2 3, so this will be it. So from A to C. All right, and C is a minor third apart from A. Okay, so a minor third apart. Okay, and then the next one will be what? Tone. Now we come to D, which is a perfect fourth apart from what? A. That is the root note. And the next one is also tone. All right, which will take us to E, which is also a perfect fifth apart from A, the root notes. And the next one will be G. Okay, what is TS? The next TS on the scale formula. All right, which means 3 steps. All right, so 1 2 3, which is also a minor 7th apart from what? The root notes. Okay, if you don't understand these minor second, major second stuff, these are the intervals. Okay, so please go back to the previous video and then learn from that. Okay, so we now have this, the root notes C, which is a minor third apart from the root notes A. We have D, which is a perfect fourth apart from A. We have E, which is a perfect fifth apart from A, and also we have G, which is a minor 7th apart from A. Okay, so I'm just using the name, the tone, and sorry, I'm just using the minors and perfects and all that, just so you know how it's called. All right, you understand the intervals between these notes. Okay, but basically you just have to use the tone, semitone, tone, semitone, tone. All right, so this is the scale formula. All right, so once you see that the TS is joined together, that means we are moving a tone and a semitone, which gives us 3 steps. Right, because remember I said a tone is 2 steps and a semitone is 1 step. All right, so we realize that we now arrive at our minor pentatonic scale, which is this. Back to our perfect octave. Okay, and then as I mentioned, the pentatonic scale has only one structure, okay, which is the minor pentatonic scale. All right, so the minor pentatonic scale is the mother of all pentatonics. All right, so the major pentatonic is also derived from the minor pentatonic. Okay, and this is done by introducing what we call modes. All right, so a mode is basically a set of scales, okay, that has been reoriented, okay, from its root notes. Okay, so in basic terms, modes are the same set of notes, okay, in a particular scale. Okay, in a particular scale, just that for now we are changing the starting point of that scale. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So we know that there's our minor pentatonic scale. Sorry. These are A minor pentatonic scale. Alright, so once we change the starting point, which is A, and make C the root note, it means that A now comes to this place. Alright, so our new pentatonic scale becomes this. Alright, so this becomes our C major pentatonic scale. Alright, so you realize that once you change the starting point of the minor pentatonic scale and make the second notes the starting points, it means you arrive at your major pentatonic scale. Okay, so you realize that C major pentatonic scale, or sorry, A minor pentatonic scale is the relative minor of the C major pentatonic scale. Okay, yes, and when it happens like that, the scale formula also changes. Okay, so right now, instead of what we had earlier, this becomes our root notes. Okay, so this becomes T. This becomes our root notes. So our next note becomes D, which is a tone. Okay, so tone. So from C we come here, tone, another tone, and then we come to a tone semitone. That is 3 steps, 1 2 3, which gives us this G. Okay, and another tone which gives us A. Okay, and a tone semitone which gives us C. That is 3 steps, 1 2. You understand? So our new scale formula for the major pentatonic scale becomes T T T S T T S. You understand? So basically, this is what we mean when we say that the major pentatonic scale is a mode of the minor pentatonic scale. Alright, so that is the relationship between these pentatonic scales. And there are other modes. Okay, so because we have 5 notes in the octave, let's go back to our minor pentatonic scale. Because we have 5 notes, mind you, this is just the octave. It's just repeating the first one. Alright, so our notes are 1 2 3 4 5. Because we have these 5 notes, it means any of the 5 notes can be the starting point. Alright, any of the 5 notes can be the starting point. So just as we got here, and then we knew that this is our mode 2. Okay, so the mode 2 of the minor pentatonic scale is the major pentatonic scale. Okay, so the third note, if you want to find the mode 3, it means that this will now be the root note. Okay, so this over here, and then we come here, and the next one becomes this, and the next one becomes this. Okay, so this becomes the mode 3 of the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, unfortunately these do not have special names. Okay, yes, for that of the diatonic scales, that's the 7-note scales, all the modes have their special names like